In Nebraska, water is managed by two separate but equally important groups. The Nebraska Department of Natural Resources, who manages surface water, and the 23 Nebraska Natural Resource Districts that manage groundwater. LB 962, passed in 2004, brings the two together to manage surface water and groundwater conjunctively. These are their stories.
Hi everybody, it's me Alexa. I'm here with Brian at the Lower Elkhorn NRD, here to highlight your special NRD compared to the rest. So Brian, you want to take it away?
Certainly. Thanks for having me today. Welcome to Norfolk, Nebraska, home of the Lower Elkhorn Natural Resources District. The Lower Elkhorn is situated here in northeast Nebraska. All are parts of 15 counties. As you noticed on your drive up, we are an agricultural district. The largest community in our district is Norfolk, Nebraska, where we are today. Population 20,000 plus. The other two larger communities are Wayne and West Point, also home to several other rural communities of various shapes and sizes. Here in northeast Nebraska, in the Lower Elkhorn NRD, as I mentioned, it's very agricultural, diverse mix of row crops, grazing land, irrigated and dry land agriculture. As you also probably noticed on your trip up here today, livestock production has a huge presence in our neck of the woods, always has. And I would attribute that to our proximity to Sioux City and Omaha, where the packing houses first established. So the beef feeding industry, the swine industry, not so much dairy anymore, now a growing poultry industry presence, both broiler and egg laying productions. Our district is unique in the sense that its geology is very diverse from west to east. The western part of our district is underlain by the Ogallala Aquifer. Groundwater resources are plentiful, and you will see that if you look at the amount of irrigated agriculture that's in counties like Pierce and Madison County. If you move to the eastern portion of our district, that is the portion of our district that was impacted by the glaciers millions of years ago. And groundwater is not as plentiful in the east. However, there's fertile clay soil in the east as opposed to sandy soils in the west, where there is a lot of irrigation. Some of the challenges we face here when it comes to natural resources are, much like any of the other 23 NRDs, but also unique. We do have some flooding, and we do have 4 flood control structures. We have Willow Creek Reservoir at Pierce. We have Mascentine Rec Area, which is near Stanton. Maple Creek Rec Area, located just west of Lee, and then the Pilger Rec Area. Each of those is a flood control structure that has a recreation component stitched into it, just like a lot of the other districts have developed. And so flooding has been an issue for some locations. 2019 was definitely no exception. We had communities of Osmond, Pierce, Battle Creek were 3 of the main ones that were impacted. We are working to do watershed evaluations to potentially identify flood mitigation solutions for those communities. We're nearing the completion of those studies, and at some point our board will have a decision to make to accept those studies and potentially then take the next step towards constructing some sort of a project. Whatever that looks like, we still don't know. Agriculture, as I mentioned, irrigation has a huge presence in our district because of the aquifer that underlies our district. I think we have just shy of 800,000 irrigated acres. We also have a big portion of the district that's also dryland production. We are fortunate where we are in Nebraska that we're far enough east. Average precipitation is in the 28-inch range. And so we're not as reliant on rainfall as on irrigation as other parts of the state might be because of the fact that we can get that kind of average precipitation. However, 2022 and 23, even 2021, we were in a serious drought condition up here in this neck of the woods. Fortunately, 2024 has been a much different scenario. We're above average for precipitation on the year. Irrigation has been operating, it's been happening, but definitely not to the degree that it did the last 3 years. We are very sensitive to the demands that irrigation can place on the aquifer, and our observation wells showed the impacts of that pumping because of those heavy pumping seasons. However, as I mentioned, the beneficial precipitation this year should definitely help groundwater recharge, and we're hopeful that once we get done with pumping season this year, that the aquifers will rebound back to sustainable levels. We are part of the Lower Platte Basin Coalition, which is a group of NRDs in cooperation with the Department of Natural Resources that have agreed to manage groundwater and surface water resources conjunctively. We adhere to a plan of how we're going to manage the resource and how we're going to allocate new uses of groundwater, primarily for irrigation purposes. That would be the biggest new use that we would probably be faced with. And again, we're fortunate where we are in the state that we can still allow new irrigated acres from groundwater, as well as from surface water. We're not one of those districts that's fully or over appropriated, and therefore that makes our job much easier, but also heightens the responsibility that our board of directors has to, use their local control wisely and to make conscientious, wise decisions. We do have an integrated management plan. We didn't have to develop one. We voluntarily developed one of those after we joined the Basin Coalition and the partners approved that plan. We are also home to the Nebraska Department of Natural Resources Norfolk Division Field Office. We rent space to the Department of Natural Resources. We have for as long as I can ever remember. We've had 2 DNR guys in our office, and we still do. And that's a great partnership. It's great to have them close by because we do work cooperatively on a lot of different things. Obviously, Department of Natural Resources is responsible for jurisdiction over surface water appropriations. We're the groundwater folks, but there's a lot of intersection on a lot of properties between those 2 uses in our district. And we have a great working relationship with the 2 field staff that are here, and so it's great to have them close by. Also, when it comes to the Department of Natural Resources, our district has been the benefactor of the Water Sustainability Fund. We have received some grant funds to conduct aerial electromagnetic imagery displays throughout the district. We have used that information to then develop a groundwater model, which we are currently still kind of getting our feet wet with and understanding. But that's been a great partnership, and that's a great resource. Great financial assistance helps ease the burden on local taxpayers. We also utilize DNR for well decommissioning. We get money through the Nebraska Soil and Water Conservation Fund for some conservation programs too, and so it's a great partnership and we want to see it continue.
Awesome. If anyone at home listening wants to get in touch with your office, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can go to our website at www.lenrd.org. On that website you will find contacts for all of our staff members, email contacts there. If they wanted to give me a call, the main office number here is 402-371-7313, or send me an email by visiting our website.
Awesome. And like you mentioned, you will also be able to say hi to the DNR staff. So stop by.